Hello everyone, this is the Nihilist Geek, and today we're having another video about Game of Thrones and the final season, and it's about an article I've read in Scientific American. It is written by definetely. She's an assistant professor in the University of North Carolina. Her focus is information library, I think. Let's see. Yes, she's in the North Carolina School of Information and Library Science, and she's a contributor of the New York Times. And she makes a great point about the storytelling of Game of Thrones and how it shifted. It's not that she claims that the writing of the final season was good. Actually, she makes a point that it's not that great. It has many problems, all the problems we have expressed in blogs and videos and whatever, but she adds a very interesting tidbit, and I won't go through the entire article because I think I would do it a disservice. I really lack the scientific knowledge she has, and I'll probably not be able to give it justice. So I would suggest you go and click on this article. The link is in the description, and read it. It's very interesting. The point that Netflix makes is that Game of Thrones started off as a sociological and institutional style of storytelling, and that means that the characters were there in order to show us the world of Westeros. That's a great point. She actually relates Game of Thrones to another series that had a sociological style of storytelling, The Wire. If you don't know, The Wire, it's an HBO series about Baltimore. It's a crime show, but each season focuses on an institution of the city and how it doesn't work. The characters in both series are varied. They come from different places, from different fractions, from different walks of life, but they're all there in order to show you how this world, Baltimore and Westeros, work. What are the norms, what are the structures of power, and how they don't work. Because in Baltimore there is corruption and crime everywhere, and in every season somebody tries to change the structures, and the structure beat them down. In Westeros we have a kingdom where the king has taken the throne by force, and when he dies there are lots of pretenders trying to grab as much power as they can. And there is also the external threat of the White Walkers, as well as Daenerys coming from the east. So, what Game of Thrones did very well is it used the characters not as story arcs, but as tools to explore a world. That's something fantasy tends to do, even though they often use the characters and their plot lines a more literal sense. What Game of Thrones did was take those characters, take their status and their actions, and use them as an opportunity to show us how this war of Westeros, this Game of Thrones, actually worked. It made the world feel so much real. Westeros felt like a real place, a very vast place, with many factions that have sometimes opposing views and opposing goals, and certain things that happen not only subvert expectations, like Ned Stark dying in the first season, but it also felt very real in the context of what the world was, how it was built. All those shocking deaths were not just shocking because they were coming from the left field, but they also made the world feel very real. It felt like everything could happen like in real life. The very honest, very honorable character like Ned Stark dies because not everybody's honorable. It's not a romantic novel, it's a real world, and no good deed goes unpunished. Similar with Robb and the Red Wedding, Netflix actually makes a point of those two deaths as an example of why Game of Thrones was such a great show. And then the showrunners ran out of material, and they make The Wire of Game of Thrones into The Walking Dead, meaning that, as I told in the video about why the final season was not going to be great, the moment the showrunners, D&D, ran out of original material, they went out and killed off everybody who was not needed for the plot, and they did it very fast, they did it in great production values, I'll say that. I mean, the burning of the High Sparrow, for instance, was an awesome scene, but the way they did it in season 6, chopping down every plot line they didn't need for the end, and then in season 7, having everybody fast travel through the map like it was Skyrim, it made Westeros feel less real. The fact that some not so important characters died and the rest of the cast, the important members of the cast, had plot armor and never suffered anything, it made Game of Thrones not feel like a great show, the great show it was. It made Game of Thrones feel like yet another show. Yes, the production values are great, we love the characters, we hated some other characters, and that was awesome. But the shift in storytelling was so drastic that we just knew that something was off. So when the final season hit, and we were expecting something as good as the first seasons, and instead we got a very rushed, because yes, it was rushed and it had plot holes. If you subtract that, you can have a decent ending. But it was not only that it was not writing in the final season, it was also that Game of Thrones felt much less real by the end. And that's the main reason why fans subconsciously hate it, because it felt nothing like the show we loved. Thank you for listening. Make sure you go and read the article. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you with another video. Bye bye.